Good day everyone, I am here to show you on how to solve for the resultant of a force. So step 1 is to get the summation of forces along x and y axis. So first, we have to get for the forces along the x axis. So start 250 cosine 40 and then 350, it would be negative since it is along the negative x-axis. So next, negative since it is also on the negative side, negative 180 cosine of 20. And then after that, sum all the forces. By summing up all the forces along x-axis, we get negative 200 for 0.14 kilonewtons. So the next thing to do is to get the summation along the fy axis or y axis. So first, 250 cosine of 40 since it is on the positive side of y. Next is 350 positive 350 sine of 30, again since it is also on the positive side of y. Next is 180, which is negative 180 sine of 20 since it is on the negative side of y-axis. After getting the forces along y-axis, we get to sum all the forces. By summing up all the forces, we get positive 274.13 kilonewtons. So, the next thing to do after getting the summation of forces along x and y axis, the step 2 is to get the resultant. So, the formula of getting the resultant is R is equals to square of summation of forces along x-axis squared plus summation of forces along y-axis squared. So for this magnitude, we have square root of negative 204.14 squared plus 217.13 squared. By getting the square of both x and y forces and getting the square root, we will have 341.79 kilonewtons. After getting the resultant, we get the direction. And for the direction, we have the formula of theta is equals to the inverse tangent of summation of y over summation of x-axis. So for this formula, we have the value of inverse tangent of 274.13 over negative 204.14. By having these values, we get negative 53.33 degrees. But since we get negative on the x-axis and positive on the y-axis, the resultant must be on the second quadrant. So when you have the resultant on the second quadrant, angle must be 90 degrees up to 180. So since we get a negative angle, we must add the negative angle to 180 since it is in the second quadrant. So negative 53.33 plus 180 would give us 126 0.67 degrees. So after getting the magnitude and the direction, the resultant would be negative on the left side and then positive on the right side. So this would be our guide to get the resultant of a force. And that's all. Thank you.